everyone, it's Pam, and it feels like a long time since I've made a video. I've been spending a lot of time playing games as opposed to writing about them or making videos, so I thought I would just do a really quick one today and give a mini review of the game I've been playing a lot this weekend, which is Fallout 4. I got my hands on this as soon as I possibly could, and I've put in 10 hours so far, which is obviously not enough to do a comprehensive review, but I think it's a good amount of time to figure out, the positives and the negatives of the game, give my opinion on whether I think you'd like it. So, to start out, I have to say Fallout 4 is a Fallout game. If you liked Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, you're probably going to like Fallout 4. If you didn't like them or you're looking for some great evolution of the series, then there's not going to be much there for you. Basically, what I've been finding is all the negatives from Fallout 3 and New Vegas are still there, and all the positives from them are still there as well. Let's just start with the negatives. Bethesda's engine is pretty ugly. This game doesn't look as nice as most current gen games that have been coming out. It definitely doesn't look as nice as something like The Witcher 3. It looks okay though. There are a lot of improvements, especially in character creation. Character creation was pretty bad in Fallout 3, and it was very hard to make a character who wasn't just an ugly, blurry mess. And this one seems to borrow from Dragon Age Inquisition in their face sculpting tool, so you can actually make a good-looking character if that's what you want. I spent quite a lot of time making my character into something that I like the look of. There's still not a ton of hair options, but it's a huge improvement over previous entries in the series. Another thing that hasn't changed much is the gameplay. As far as combat goes, combat within VATS is a lot of fun. It's nice to be able to target specific parts of the body and sort of give a little bit of a pause, although it is less of a pause in this game than the previous ones, whereas before it seemed to stop combat completely. Here it just slows it down a great deal, so you still will have enemies coming at you or shooting at you even when you're in VATS, so that adds a little bit more pressure. As far as the non-VATS combat, I've definitely played a lot better first-person shooters in my life. The mechanics of this aren't really anything to write home about. They're quite mediocre. I mean, they do the job, but they're not particularly fun or particularly precise. I find it difficult, especially a lot of the enemies in the beginning of the game will run right up into melee range, and the reaction time isn't that great when you're outside of VATS. There's also a problem I had with the earlier games where I would just explode out of nowhere. All of a sudden there would be something, a bomb, a grenade, and I would explode and I wouldn't know where it came from. And I'm finding that this still happens in Fallout 4, just mystery explosions. They've added a little grenade icon so you can tell when one's been thrown, but even without that, or even with that, there are still mystery explosions that kill me out of nowhere. Dog! Another thing that hasn't really changed much is your companions. They're still handy to have with you in combat in a way, but they also get in your way a lot. They'll get in your line of sight, they'll stand in front of you while you're trying to go down a narrow corridor. Companions get in the way all the time. Although you can move them now, they're still pretty annoying, and sometimes I question whether it's worth it to bring one with me on my travels in the wasteland at all. Alright, now on to what Fallout 4 does well. As far as the main story arc goes, I haven't really gotten that far into it to see what the main story is, but based on the last ones, that's not the most interesting part of the game. The stories that are really interesting in Fallout 4 are the sort of environmental and location-based stories, so you might go and find an abandoned rock quarry, or you might find another vault, you might find a school, and going through there and seeing, where bodies are lying and where objects are, hacking into terminals and seeing log entries by people who lived there. That's where the most interesting storytelling comes in Fallout 4, which I think is similar to the earlier games, that's where the story is best, where you can just explore a place and find out everything about it without it necessarily being all spelled out to you. So, there's some bit of imagination that comes into play there in figuring out what exactly happened here. Another thing I really like about Fallout is that the text entries actually make me want to read them. In previous games, previous open world RPGs like The Witcher, like Dragon Age, it's full of lore entries, codexes, bestiaries, history lessons, blah blah blah. They make you just feel like you're reading a textbook as you reach pages and pages and pages of text. And I generally tend to skip those because I don't want to read a novel in a video game. But Fallout 4 does it really well by putting these log entries on terminals, so it makes it feel like you're reading someone's journal rather than reading like a guidebook or a textbook. So it makes it really interesting, especially the fact that there's often multiple terminals with log entries by different people. So you're seeing a story from multiple sides, so you can sort of determine what the real story is, and I really like that part of it. And the best part of Fallout 4 is the exploration. Again, I'm going to compare it to other recent open world RPGs. Let's say The Witcher 3. The Witcher 3 just put so many fucking icons on the map, and it's such a pain in the ass. The completionist part of me just needs to go and see them and find what they are, but the part of me who values my time and actually wants to have fun in a game really hates them for putting those icons on the map. So Fallout 4 doesn't do that. They put up the main landmarks that you want to see, but it doesn't point out every single little resource pile, every raider camp, every single thing you can find. So as you go through, yes, you're probably going to miss things, but that's okay. That's why exploration is there. That gives you a reason to want to explore. It's not just, oh, yeah, been there, been there, been there. It's an actual exploration of the wasteland, and it's really fun. The visuals are great. As I said, the locational storytelling is great. So this is one of the few open world games where exploration actually feels like a joy and a reward in itself rather than a chore of something I have to do in order to complete the game. Now, there are a couple new things in Fallout 4, and those are mainly around crafting, the modification of weapons and armor, and the workshops which let you build a home base. And those are pretty fun. I didn't think I would want to play those. As I said when the announcement trailer came out, I just want to blow shit up. I don't want to build it. But it's actually kind of fun to build a base. You can build houses and you put in like beds and furniture and decorations. You can plant crops so the people that you've met in the wasteland who now live there have something to eat. You can put up defenses, you can power your base. While there are some problems with it, I find a lot of things, particularly around electricity, aren't very well explained. And I'm also not totally certain what happens if I don't provide well enough within my base. Like if my people will die or if I'll get attacked by raiders. I haven't gotten far enough to see what will happen there. But it is a pretty cool feature, for one base at least. You can go out into the wasteland and all the other areas where you help people, you can turn them into workshops as well, and I think that's going a little overboard. Like, I'm good with building one base of operations. I don't want to build 12 of them. That seems like a bit of a time sink, but I'm enjoying it so far. I just, again, have some problems with the game engine. I'm sure if you played any Elder Scrolls games, you know how you're trying to, decorate your apartment and you're just sort of picking up cups and like throwing them at the wall rather than gently placing them down on tables and things. And it's not so bad, but it still is a little bit awkward to place things within the houses that you've built. So those are my initial thoughts about Fallout 4. As I said, I've only put in about 10 hours, so I've definitely got quite a ways to go, so I hope to explore and learn more about the game as I go, but I wanted to give everyone just, a little glimpse of what I think the game is doing well and what it's not doing so well. I think that if you liked the previous Fallout games, you're gonna like this one. I wish that they had made a few sort of gameplay refinements since it has been 5 years since the last one, but at the same time I know that change can be scary, so I'm happy that this seems to fall in line with the spirit of the previous Fallout games. I do have a couple more reviews in the works. I've got another retro review coming up, as well as a new episode of Short Games for Busy People. However, with Fallout and Tomb Raider, I don't know how quickly I'm going to get those out, but they'll be out at some time. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.